her story, I think her assumption that she got caught in between the guarantee money expiring and her application is probably true. I don't know the details of her application, but it sounds like that's exactly right. And that's precisely the reason why we began warning 13 days ago that we needed to fund more, to put more money in this program. Look, when this bill passed, everybody knew that we would need more money at some point. It was a brand new program. Everybody said, let's see how it works before we fund more. And everybody knew it. And so what happened is, as we started to see the trend lines, 7 days before the money ran out, we said, we should probably step up and put some more money in that. And immediately Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi jumped on it and said, well, we want some other things too, in addition to it. And so today we have now been shut down about 5 days, about 700,000 applications like the one you just heard about that have been stuck in limbo. And it was unnecessary, completely unnecessary. Look, I'm glad the Senate passed it today. I hope the House will do the same on Thursday. This thing can kickstart again Thursday night, Friday morning. But people like Marcy, who we just heard from, should not have gone through what they've gone through in the last 7 days. And a lot of that is due to the money drying up.
So here's what the Democrats said in their statement from Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. They say Democrats flipped this emergency package from an insufficient Republican plan that left behind hospitals and health and frontline workers and did nothing to aid the survival of the most vulnerable small businesses on Main Street. What say you, Senator?
Well, they're two unrelated topics. No one's against getting more money for hospitals. The problem is that probably needed 7 to 10 days to be worked out. And the argument was, we're fine with funding hospitals. And by the way, we're fine with funding small businesses, and so are them. Let's do the small businesses because it's ready to go now. And let's work on the next 7 days and get to the hospitals. You don't have to pair these things up. Everyone's for both of these things. But one of them was ready to go right away and one of them was not. And as far as the changes that were made to the small business plan, we could have made those changes 10 days ago. Talking about focusing more of the additional money on top of whatever we appropriated to the smaller lenders who, in fact, have not only been the majority of these loans, but have moved much faster than the bigger banks. That's something I was calling for as early as April 7th. So that is not an excuse. This was held up for one simple reason. They wanted a hostage that they could use as leverage to negotiate on the topics that they wanted, when, in fact, we could have done these things and we could have done them separately and they both would have gotten done.
Senator, one quick question before I let you go. This is from an AP piece. It says at least 75 companies that received the aid were publicly traded, the AP found. And some had market values well over $100 million. And 25% of the companies had warned their investors months ago, while the economy was humming along, that their ability to remain viable was in question. So should companies like that be getting this money? And I know you want to investigate some of these and make sure that it's going to the right places and to places that are deserving of it.
Right. 3 quick points. Number one is, if we had required every company that applied for this to produce financial documents, the more sophisticated companies would have quickly churned them out and the smaller companies would have struggled, and many of them wouldn't have even tried. If you thought this program was slow in starting, imagine if we required people to show all kinds of financial records. So we certainly chose efficiency over that part of it. Number two, everybody who borrows has to sign a certification that says they've been harmed by this crisis and they need this loan. And if you sign that certification and that's not true, you've just lied to the federal government. You've falsely certified. The third point I would make about that specific article is it lists a lot of different companies. Let me tell you, the majority of the companies they listed probably qualified under existing SBA guidelines, not because of anything we changed in the PPP program. Ultimately, the goal here, is to help get money to employees, to workers. This is about payroll protection. We want everybody covered. The reason why some people have been left behind is because the program has been underfunded. And when it ran out of money, because the need is so dramatic, instead of quickly stepping up to the plate and funding it, it was taken as a hostage and used for over 7 days as a negotiating ploy. And that is the single biggest impediment to everybody getting included and more people getting into the system.